Welcome to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have with us Kenny Stoddart, founder of IronMind Advisors and the creator of IronMind Mentality, a transformational framework for mastering mental resilience, strategic clarity, and performance under pressure. And we'll learn from him his powerful framework for mastering pressure, reclaiming dignity, and turning chaos into clarity. We'll learn how discipline becomes freedom and vulnerability becomes strength. Welcome to the show, Kenny.
Oh, thank you very much, KHUDANIA. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show, Kenny. Welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We'll talk about mental resilience and also about the Iron Mind mentality. So let's
That sounds good to
but
me.
before that, wonderful. And before that, let's talk a bit about your journey, your background, so that your story, so that people know who they are listening to.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share my story. I think, for your audience, the most relevant part of my journey starts maybe towards the end here. So I'm in the process of pivoting my career after 27 years in the cybersecurity industry, working with companies like GeoTrust and VeriSign and Symantec, and really just having a phenomenal career. I was in global sales, so I've traveled all over the world, including India, Mumbai, New Delhi, and several other places. But through that process, I've got to meet many different people from many different cultures, and I have had such a lovely learning experience, being able to not only work, but learn and work with different people from different cultures. And that's the exciting part of my story. Unfortunately, it also involves some mental hardness or mental toughship. During that process, struggled with alcoholism. I've battled cancer most recently, but most importantly, I had to make a decision to ask for help and find resources to help me become the best version of myself, essentially. So along with that, I have decided to pivot my career from the cybersecurity industry to now where I'm focusing on getting my master's degree in mental health counseling, so I can essentially walk alongside others the way I was treated during my recovery process, and helping people get back to the best version of themselves, because I know that that's a possibility, because I've just done it. I completed a complete 1 year transformation of myself recently, where I essentially hit my rock bottom just over a year ago, and had the wherewithal to not only ask for help, but tell myself that this is no longer an option to live a lifestyle where, there was alcohol, there was, I just wasn't living up to my own expectations. I was not hitting my goals the way I'm accustomed to doing. Alcohol had taken its toll on me, and it was catching up with me, and I was no longer able to control it. So, like I said, I decided to ask for help. I received amazing, incredible help. But during that process, I really realized what it meant to be able to not only receive help, but to help others. And for the first 27 years of my career, I was able to close big deals and do amazing business transactions and work with incredible customers and enterprises all across the globe. And I have invaluable experience from it, but I was not helping others in that sense the way you do when you realize what type of impact you can have on people based on your lived experience. And my experience is full of ups and downs. It started when I was, at 24 years old. Upon graduation from college, I entered the dot-com boom in 1998. Myself, along with several others in the industry at the time, became millionaires overnight due to the success of the dot-com boom, essentially. And, I was right in the heat of it. And it was so much fun. And it was such a great thing to be a part of. We were learning, we were selling, we were building businesses, we were doing IPOs, we were going through acquisitions, private equities, all these different amazing things that you want to do as a business person. None of it was really taking or scratching the surface of what I wanted to do as far as giving back. And then, I didn't realize that I had that gift until, I went through rehab myself and started working with others and being vulnerable and talking more about my problem and talking about more about my desire to get better. So, as I mentioned, I really stuck a stake in the ground, if you will, and said, this is no longer going to be the situation. And I told myself that I'm going to fix everything in my life, not only my challenges with alcohol, but my mental fitness, my mental toughness, my relationships with friends, with families, with things that I perhaps neglected over the years because I was too busy chasing purchase orders and contracts, if you will. So, like I said, during that process of recovery, I learned that I have the ability to work with people and talk with people from a level that not everybody can get to. I have the lived experience. I've crossed the Ironman finish lines. I've done some of the most challenging fitness events in the world, only just to chase that sense of acceptance, to get that medal, to say I'm an Ironman or whatever. And again, all lovely experiences, none that I would ever want to change, but nothing that can come close to what I'm doing now with my company that you mentioned, IronMind Advisors, where I really want to focus on working with high achieving individuals that, that perhaps they're not reaching their own potential that they have in their mind for them. And that's something that often people don't really understand. For me personally, I knew that I was capable of some great things at a young age. I was rising through the ranks of leadership and sales. I was constantly at the top of the board and always at President's Club and all these wonderful accolades. And they were wonderful, but they, like I mentioned, they didn't allow me to tap into what I was truly capable of doing. And then during that period, which was, it's a long period of, alcohol kind of started steering my path instead of me steering the path. So I was not as ambitious as I was. I was not as eager, as attentive, all, some of the little things, and then it escalated. But it is, I guess the amazing part is that when I stopped using alcohol, when I stopped drinking, essentially, it was only within a few days or weeks that I started to notice some of the small changes, some of the old Kenny coming back, my brain working differently, some of the self-confidence coming back because I started to see what I truly was capable of, what I knew I had inside of me already that I wasn't implementing on a day-to-day basis because something else was driving me. Well, one thing led to another during that process. Now weeks turn into months, and I decide that I'm going to become a recovery advocate because this is something that I'm very passionate about. I love helping people get better because that's what I needed at the time. So becoming a recovery advocate for me was a stepping stone into, well, in order to do this properly, I'd like to understand the science a little bit behind it. So I looked into school. I'm entering my third semester at a lovely university here in Virginia called Liberty University. Hopefully by the end of next year, I will be close to attaining my degree, my master's degree, because I don't want to just talk to people and be a cheerleader by any means, because I can do that and do it well. But I want to help people understand that first and foremost, they're not alone. Secondly, addiction is a disease, and just because I had it or perhaps someone else has it doesn't mean that they're not okay or that they can't get better, because I'm living proof that that there's a model to do that. It starts with hard work and dedication and commitment for sure, but and then taking advantage of some of the tools. So that's my story. Here I sit with you. I'm 1 month removed from a major cancer surgery. So it's been a busy road, but all with the intention of being able to give back to people.
Absolutely, absolutely, Kenny. So, from a common person's perspective, how should they understand, you know, who is Kenny? What is he trying to do? What is
Yeah.
he that he's doing at the moment?
Yeah. Who is Kenny is a such a great question, because um, the Kenny that you're talking to now, the vulnerable, as you can see, the person that has a strong desire to, to do great things, not only business wise, mental health wise, in my own recovery, but I have such a passion for the younger generation and making sure that they don't make some of the same mistakes that I did. For example, I have a passion for people that might have a fear of making change, major change, like I did at 50 years old. I decided after 30 years, essentially, in an industry that I didn't go from cybersecurity to like IT or hosting, or I went from cybersecurity to mental health. It's a complete transition. And, so that's the Kenny that I am now. You know, who I was during when I was wearing the tie and the sport coat and flying all over the world as a software salesperson. There was a great human being there too. Um, I would say that the agenda was different. I wanted the things in life that perhaps don't matter most, the material goods, the bank account, the money, and all those things are lovely when they're earned and I earned it, and I'm grateful for every dollar I've ever made along the way. And I'm also grateful for every dollar that I lost along the way, because that is my story. I was incredibly successful, and then like so many people that struggle with addiction in whatever form it is, we often hear the story of, well, he had it all and then he lost it all. And my story doesn't quite end that way. I didn't lose it all, but I was certainly on that path. I lost most of it, if you will, and there's no need to quantify it. The point is that I lost control of something that I love to be in control of, and that's my own path forward and doing great things, and of course making money and learning about finance and the market and all these things. I love to do that, but when the opportunity to give back kind of fell in my lap in a weird way, in rehab, where therapists were asking me to, stay longer, that people were enjoying hearing from me. Those were the things that pushed me along. And so here we are. I started IronMind Advisors on July 5th of this year, 2025. I quickly put on my entrepreneurial hat that I knew I had in there as well. I love business. I'm always a student of the game. I just finished my MBA from the Citadel when I was 50 last year. So I just love learning, and I love helping. And the fact that there's an opportunity to do that as a livelihood in the form of coaching, if you will, or advisement, it was a natural move for me. And that is who I am now. And like I said in one of my speeches or one of my short films, that, I've dedicated the rest of my life to walking alongside others so that they can learn and prosper and do amazing things and not feel fear of making change or going after that next promotion. Or if you want to go to law school, but you're weary of the bar exam, or you want to get that MBA, but you don't want to take the GMAT. These are all things those are just pieces of the puzzle, little obstacles that need to be overcome along the way. So I say that with IronMind Advisors. And I think it's important to the folks listening to, what is IronMind and what is that name it seems like this big masculine name, and it is for a reason. And I'll like to explain it real quick. And so first and foremost, I'm an Ironman triathlete. For years, I chased finish lines, like I said, to the highest level, to Ironman World Championships, to the Xterra World Championships in Hawaii, trying to climb the highest ladders, if you will. And I quickly realized I'm bigger than most triathletes, if you will, that Ironman races are not finished just through physical talent or how fast you can run or how long. There's a lot of mental grit that needs to go into that. And that's what allowed me to cross those finish lines, was that mental grit. And fast forward a few years later, when I was on my way to recovery, and one of my friends, was chatting with me on the phone and encouraging me to, tackle my challenges with alcohol the same way I would tackle an Ironman finish line, if you will. And, that's something that really, really made me think about what I was about to journey on at that point. And knowing what it takes to do an Ironman, how do I apply that to my own recovery from alcoholism? And the reality of it is that that's the mental side of it. And that's where the Iron Mind comes in. So you have the Iron version, which is the physical, let's go run the races and be strong and physical. And then you have the mental, the mind, the Iron Mind, that, this is a place that we all have. Everybody has the Iron Mind's mentality within them. They may or may not know it yet. It could be the next job promotion. It could be your bar exam. It could be whatever goal it is you're trying to accomplish in life. And you have that fear that, maybe you're just not powerful enough or strong enough or smart enough or whatever it may be. And I'm here to say that that's certainly not the case. You can do whatever you want if you tap into this place inside you that says, I will not quit, that failure is not an option. And that's the Iron Mind's mentality. And I do believe it can be applied to any aspect of your life. It doesn't have to be an Ironman race. It doesn't have to be a bar exam. It can be today, your goals that you have for today, to say that we are going to accomplish them. Failure is not an option. Okay, it's not always easy. It's not always, let's just, I said it, I'm going to do it. No, it's about thinking about it, putting a plan in place, setting realistic goals for yourself, giving yourself some grace so that you're not trying to cram everything into a simple morning. So using the tools that you have inside you already that are not special to anybody, that will allow you to put those plans in place, even your own self-confidence that people lack always. I did for years. I did not like myself. I never thought I was capable of any of these things. And then I realized that I'm capable of any of them if I put my mental fortitude towards it, which I've coined, as I mentioned, the Iron Mind's mentality. And I do believe that. I believe I can do anything that I want, no matter what the challenge is, whether it be mental, physical, academic. Now, I've gotten to the point where I need to stop setting goals. My goal now is to work and be a recovery advocate. There's no finish line with that, right? There's no medal that comes at the end of it. There's simply the idea that all of those things that I've did for so many years have allowed me to come to this place where I have a lot to offer to people. And I don't dispute that anymore. For many months, I said, well, what are you going to coach people on? You don't know. And the truth is, I know a lot. And it starts with lived experience. It starts with how I got to this place as a youngster growing up in Western New York and the way I was raised. And it got molded at the Citadel, where I went to a very difficult military college when in my early 20s. And then it blossomed through a long career of learning through ups and downs, and then kind of culminated with an addiction that kind of stuck its talons in me and said, let's see what you really got. And thankfully I was up to the challenge. Unfortunately, it didn't end there. Like I said, I was diagnosed with stage 2B prostate cancer in September. Thankfully for the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville, I had a surgery. I had a total prostatectomy, and just 4 weeks ago, and here I am, 100% healthy, cancer-free, grateful, and really charged to go to that next level. Like I said, so that's who Kenny Stoddart is. I can't really do it any better than that, because that's where we are. And now I've, with IronMind Advisors, I've done my best to package that up and turn it into what is now a business and a coaching practice. But I even hesitate to say business, but we all are. We're business people, but it's a coaching opportunity to work with others.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Kenny, here you are, and here you will be for a long, long time, and we will do several interviews, and you will achieve everything that you have stepped out for, because God wants you to help, everyone that you want to. It's your comeback. But I want to understand, you call IronMind Mentality the comeback blueprint. Why the comeback blueprint? Help us understand that better.
Because I think, people, including me for years, we set these little goals about setting and achieving, whether it be fitness or diet or work or study. And we go and we nip away at them. And, sometimes we miss a day or this, and we give that's okay. Don't worry about it. And that is okay if that's your intention, if you're really not goal driven. And, that wasn't going to work with my recovery. Essentially, that was not going to work. I tried it for a long time. I tried to do the, I try to portray to the people that are, listening that, I probably didn't look like your typical person that was really struggling with alcoholism, because on the outside, I looked, and I look healthy, and, I'm not struggling and asking for money on the side of the road. God bless those who are, because I'm here to help them too. But that wasn't who I was at the time. I was a very high functioning alcoholic, very high functioning. But that path for me was not sustainable. The high functioning part was becoming less functioning. The alcoholism was getting, I don't want to say the drinking part was getting worse, but the impact was getting worse every single day, whether it was my ability to not control alcohol or my tolerance, or, as you get older, it has different impacts. So those things were showing up every day. The IronMind blueprint is we don't make 2 or 3 week goals and give ourselves grace every time we skip up or whatever. That's a different program. That's not what this is. This is a complete transformation for people who have said that, I know I'm capable of more. I'm willing to do anything. That includes investing in themselves. Don't get me wrong. But that's not, money is just a component, and by no means the most important one, because money is not going to buy you recovery. It didn't for me. So the IronMind blueprint really starts with I always say, sticking a stake in the ground and saying, this is over. And that's what I did. And I said, over the next year, I'm going to turn my life around completely. Now, for me, I had to end up, the iron in the I in iron stands for identify, and identify the root cause of the problem. Because in my case, I wasn't happy at work. I wasn't as successful at work as I had been in previous years. I was making these excuses. I was getting a little older. I was, that wasn't the real problem. The real problem was I was drinking too much. So I had to identify the real problem. And then, the R stands for recommit. So recommitting to own it, to facing that problem every day. So for me, it was, I identified that I had a challenge with alcohol. I needed to recommit to focusing on it and getting it. So for me, that was getting help. For others, it may be just I don't know. There's so many different ways of getting help, and I can talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But um, the first part is asking, I need help, or admitting, and so I did that. And then, like I said, the first part of that recovery journey for me was rehab. Okay, so for 12 weeks, I did a intense outpatient program every single day. I was the first one online. I was the most inquisitive. I asked the most questions. I gave the most feedback because I wanted to get better. I wasn't there because my buddy wanted me to be there or my mom wanted me to be there. They did. They made me be there too, but that's not what made me want to be there. I wanted to be there because I wanted to be the best version of myself. So after that 12 weeks, I integrated myself back into what looked like a new life for me, the new part of the blueprint. I didn't have alcohol in my life for the first time in 30 years, which is a long time, but if we all look at, as a 50-year-old and when you start drinking, these years add up. I didn't have it. So I had to integrate into a new lifestyle. No problem. Because you know what? As clarity sets in with sobriety, the amazing things that happen just take over. And that's what happened. One thing led to another. I decided that a career pivot and going back into my cyber career was perhaps maybe not motivating, perhaps not the best idea for my recovery and my longevity as a sober, operating, high functioning individual. Nothing against the career, but for me, it would be going back to the airports, going back to the hotel rooms, going back to the conferences, and those all invite temptation for me. I just said, I don't want to be tempted right now. I'm bigger than that. So I'm going to do something different. And then that's, so the blueprint continued. That's when I decided, this is, like I said, back in the April, May, June timeframe of 2025, just several months ago. And then I enrolled in school in June. In June, and IronMind Advisors was born on July 5th, as I mentioned, by me registering the domain name and getting a business license. And then, I've really built the program from the ground up. But it's really the business side of it was, the hard part to put all the things together so I looked presentable and professional and reputable, which I obviously wanted to do. But the work's already been done, right? I have I have the lived experience. So, as I mentioned, one thing led to another. Now I'm here on the KAJ Masterclass speaking to, and this is full circle for me. This is my ability to talk to people about the journey that I've been on with people like yourself and all these listeners worldwide. A year ago, I was in rehab. I was in tears. I was begging. I was praying to get better. And, that's the IronMind blueprint. And now I help others do the same. Again, I think I'll close that portion of it by saying, I hope I didn't make it sound easy, because it's not. This journey is every single day. The reason I'm doing this now is for my own recovery. I can't sit here and tell you and your listeners that I'm an advocate for sobriety and then go have a drink. That would be against every principle I own. So I'm using it as leverage for my own recovery and my own mental fitness, my own mental strength. When people come to me with a challenge and I help them resolve that challenge through the IronMind mentality or just my own experience, that's so fulfilling for me that that's a skill set that I never even knew existed a year ago. And now I do it every single day. And I'm just incredibly grateful. And that is the IronMind blueprint. That is the transformation that I'm referring to. It may look different for others, but it's possible for anybody.
Absolutely, absolutely. Your journey is certainly not easy, and it does not sound easy. People understand it. People know that it's been a difficult journey but you have worked towards it. You have used the iron mind mentality. And that is where I want to understand, where is this iron mind mentality hidden within us? Is it in our brains? Is it somewhere else? In our hearts? Anywhere else? How should a common person, how should they find that iron mind mentality within themselves when they need it the most?
Yeah. I mean, it's so easy. It's certainly a combination of in your head, it's in your heart. The Iron Mind mentality it's a desire that comes from, in my example, I did not want to be in the position that I was in a year ago. I had such a strong desire to be better, to be the best version of myself, the person that I knew I was capable of being. I already knew it was in there. Some people may not know that it's art, that they have that in them. Some people go each day just sweeping their struggles under the carpet. The Iron Mind mentality comes with a this mind. It's a mindset. So it involves getting your heart involved and being passionate about things. It involves getting your mind involved, being mentally fit and saying that I can do this. He did it. I can do it. Why can't I do this? And then when the going gets tough, when you say, well, I don't know if I can do it anymore, it's been a month, that's where the fortitude comes in. That's where that means that's where you push forward and say, I can do this. I'm challenged every single day with temptation. And I think back to my implementing my Iron Mind mentality that says, I'm not going to let these demons win this game against me. Now, my demons happen to be, like I said, led by alcohol. That might not be the case for everybody. People could lack self-esteem, lack confidence. Those are all things that are holding back. And within the Iron Mind mentality taps right into that stuff and gets rid of it. Because I do believe that, after years of living scared like I did and living behind this lens of always trying to be chasing perfection and approval, that none of that matters. If you're putting your best foot forward and you are tapping into what you're capable of doing, the fulfillment is right there for you, and you immediately get those things like self-confidence back. I will continue to try to put it into words as I try to explain to my listeners and the people that are wanting to learn more about the Iron Minds mentality. I will continue to try to put it into words how impactful it is. But like I said, you have to, from a conceptual level, you have to understand and believe from the first moment that you have this within you, no matter what your obstacles are. And they may be huge. Mine were huge, right? No matter how large they are, we're going to get them. I don't care. I mean, I just haven't failed on it. Now sometimes we have to adjust and be realistic about things, right? We have to reset timelines. I had a client that wants to do an Ironman in March. I said, that's just not, I don't care how Iron Mind you are or whatever. Like, that doesn't add up well. Like, you're going to hurt yourself. You can probably do it if you really want to go mental, but that's not smart. How about we do one in September and build and have a better experience and learn from it? That's a good idea. I never thought about that. Exactly, because we have to set realistic goals for ourselves. Same thing goes with the promotion or switching jobs or career pivots. Maybe your children are finishing up grammar school or finishing up high school or college, and expenses are big. Maybe that's not the time to pivot. Maybe it's in a year from now. What can you do between now and then to be getting ready for that? There's all types of reading and things you can do in your downtime. So just making sure that we're working within realistic expectations. Even mine was a 1 year blueprint. It wasn't a 1 week or a 1 month. I knew it was going to take time. And now it's a 1 life blueprint. I'm continuing to improve myself every single day. Just little bits. I'm not chasing Ironman finish lines anymore. It's not my goal. My goal is if I can have one conversation with someone today about something that they're facing, and I could give them one piece of advice that says, try this today and I'll talk to you tomorrow. And I'll get a text and say, thank you so much. I'm done for the day as far as I'm concerned, because that's so fulfilling for me. Now, I love to do it all day, but it's just one thing at a time that I'm doing that really is so amazing as a culmination to my sobriety and my recovery and my blueprints, that here I am. I'm giving back every single day to people. I'm healthy. I'm sober. I'm cancer-free. I mean, I don't even know where to stop. I'm clear. I'm smarter than I've ever been. And I say that because my brain's functioning at a level that it probably hasn't been in many years. So that's where
Absolutely. What is it that you seek for yourself now, Kenny?
my business is measured by the success of how many people I can help. And that's sounds cliche but again, like I said, I've been very fortunate. I had a lot of money at a young age, spent a lot of money through the years too. Um, it's no longer my driving force. Now I am a businessman. The lights don't go on by themselves. We all know that. So I do run a business, but what the next thing for me is, like I said, my success is measured by the number of people I help on every single day. And I keep a count and it goes up every day. And it's just the most beautiful thing because with that, all these other, I get my own self-fulfillment and great feelings from those. The idea of a referral, oh my goodness. Hey, when I get a referral because of someone enjoyed hearing what I like, that's what makes me want to wake up in the morning every single day. Of course, with that comes money, with that comes opportunity. I get to be on podcasts like this and it's incredible. That's how, like, I don't see anything but, future in this opportunity for me as I continue to grow, but I don't have any aspirations into growing my business into a large whatever. This is my business where I can help people, as many as I can within my capabilities. And that's really, and that, applying that, there's a lot of things in there, especially, for, like I mentioned, to these young professionals that are navigating, not only a different time. Here we are in 2025, entering 2026, the AI generation, the post-COVID generation, all these, and technology sales, for example, is much different now than it was 25 years ago when I was, kind of a newbie in the industry. The perception that, oh, you have to sell technology, that's where all the money is, and that's where notoriety. And of course, that is true, but there's so much more to getting to that point, to being exceptional at your craft. And what I like to focus on with the younger generation is making sure that wellness is at the forefront. Meaning that if they're going to Vegas for a 4-day sales kickoff, that they pack their workout clothes. I mean, some of the simple things, that they're at the gym in the mornings before these all-day events, that they're not the last one at the bar, that they're, and again, I did those things and then I did the other side. So I know both. And I also know which one is the recipe for success, because the first person there means you get more time with the leader of your company, because I guarantee you he's there. I always said that when I went to Vegas for a sales kickoff, I was always like, I'm going to go down early and grab a cup of coffee and just kind of mingle around. Well, that's when the CEO and the VP of sales and their people are mingling around. And that's how, like, I had no intentions other than to just make sure that they know that I take it seriously. Well, then I'm asked to be, speaking at these events because they want to, leadership by example, showing up, being present, taking advantage of these opportunities. Those are the things. Those are little tidbits of the IronMind mentality that skyrocket careers. And that's just showing up on time. But I love the fact that the younger generation is embracing wellness much more so than my generation did. We embraced partying, and we were good at it. In the most, we did it with customers. It was part of our job. It was, there was nothing wrong with it. We were just social, and then, so.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Kenny. There is so much to learn from you about life, about living, about iron mind mentality, and so much more. And I'm sure a lot of people would want to connect with you for any aspect of their life. And I'm sure they will find that value, the thing that they are looking for. What's the best way for them to do so, Kenny?
Yeah, thank you. The best way is to visit my website, ironmindadvisors.com. My homepage has all the information about me. It's got a short video about the IronMind mentality. I'm on social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, but my website does the best representation of what I'm actually trying to offer. So that really is the best bet. I'm really an open book. There's an opportunity to chat with me, send emails, whatever. I respond to everything. I don't do any selling. That's not I just don't. I sold for 27 years. The service doesn't sell it. It's either something that people are interested in, or perhaps it's not a good fit. And I just leave it at that because I just want to help out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.